Yo, good evening. Welcome to the Stochastic.com NFL Showdown live before lock. We're here, baby. We're here. A little late today. We're not late. Scheduled 7:30 start with NBA locking at 7:30 as well, but we're here and we got a hell of a game to talk about. Chargers, Raiders. No Justin Herbert, no Keenan Allen, no Josh Jacobs. And I tell you what, Neil, looking at my lineups, looking at my exposures, I just went into my lineups right now. I have lineups with 4,100 left over. I'm just scrolling. 27, 39, 41, 5,000, 4,200. A lot of lineups that are like less than 47,000, around 46,000. Not surprising at all, given Zamir White and all of these other cheap plays. I mean, there's just, even the quarterbacks, there's not a lot to pay up for today.
So I can never decide if I love these slates or hate these slates, because as somebody who always leaves salary on the table, this is like, okay, you can make like the best lineups you can make. You're leaving salary on the table on the slate. At the same time, I'm like, is everybody else going to be leaving salary on the table? So now I'm going to be duped with all of my lineups that are leaving salary on the table. You never really know until the game actually starts and we see how duped our lineups are. But yeah, this is absolutely a great slate for those of us who like to make lineups that are not going to be duplicated a ton in the large field stuff. It's just a matter of, is everybody going to be building these lineups that are leaving 3,000 on the table? And it's just hard to know that ahead of time.
I'm putting my faith in the Sims tool for this one, and it's giving me
Yep.
lineups with a lot of leftover salary. You know, one thing you've been doing this long enough, like what, and you've had a lot of success playing Showdown. One thing I have seen though is that when people are given the opportunity to jam everybody and get close to that cap when they can do it, because like on a Bills Chiefs slate, you can't, or like let's say a Bills Dolphins showdown, right? There's just no way you can do it. Josh Allen, Tua, Tyreek, Waddle, Stephon Diggs, James, all of those guys, Raheem Mostert, Devon H. Like, there's no way you can do it. You can max the 50K, obviously. What I'm saying is there's no way you can play all of the guys you want. This is one of those slates where you can legitimately play all the guys you want. I think we're going to see more of that than people saying, oh, you know what? Here's a slate where I can play anybody and keep it under the cap. I'm going to leave 4,000.
That is true. Yeah, you could just jam in Austin Eckler, Devonta Adams, both quarterbacks, and use the entire salary cap. And the projections are not going to be that different if you are leaving 4,000 versus using the full salary. So this is my kind of showdown slate. It's definitely not the game that they were hoping for when they made this the Thursday night football game with both of the starting quarterbacks out for this. I guess like Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't even think he's hindered. Like they just straight up decided AOC is better. But either way, I think this is not the game that they were necessarily hoping for when they made Raiders Chargers the Thursday night football game. But from a showdown perspective, it is certainly a lot of fun. Bad defenses, bad offenses, a lot of different ways this game could go. And that is, to me, my favorite type of showdown slate.
Me too, man. SC said might just play Zamir and the captain to be different. That's not going to be different, man.
Yeah, I don't think it will be. I will say, if you play Zamir in the captain spot, definitely leave salary on the table. Like if you play Zamir in the captain and then jam both quarterbacks and Eckler and Devonta Adams, like you're going to be duped a million times.
But that's what I'm saying, right? People are going to be like, so many people are going to be like, wait a second, I can play a starting running back at the captain and then just get Eckler. I can get Devontae. Maybe I could get Jacoby Myers in there with Easton Stick and Aiden O'Connell. Like, yeah. I can do whatever I want. We have right now, we have Zamir White projected for 14% captain ownership. That's the third highest on the slate. And I agree with, I'll be honest, I wouldn't be shocked if it's even higher than that tonight.
I wouldn't either. Yeah, it could absolutely work out. Like if you're making one lineup and you want to go that route, that's totally, like if you put $15 in, you could win $10,000. Like that is,
I don't think it's awesome. A bad play. I'm just saying, I don't think
it's not. Yeah, exactly right. Like it's like you could win a lot of money playing that way, playing Zamir White with all of the studs that you want to play. I would hate it if that is the way that it works out, because the way I play, I'm trying to be unique. I want to win a lot of money, more than 10,000 if I'm lucky enough to win. But honestly, that is a totally fine thing to do if you're okay with, like, yeah, just like, except like my ceiling here is this lineup. If I'm extremely lucky and I win, I'm still probably only going to win $10,000, which is a lot of money. So like, if you want to go with the Zamir White jam the studs route, That's totally fine. Just accept that, like, it's probably like long term a negative EV lineup. That doesn't mean that it's not going to win tonight. Like, there's a pretty good chance that that's the type of lineup that's going to win, and we're going to see 1,000 different people splitting first place tonight.
Absolutely. I have 10% Zamir White at captain. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I imagine I haven't run my lineups yet, but I imagine I'll have a good amount.
I have 38% Eckler and 29% Adams at captain. Those are by far my two highest exposed captains right now.
Yeah, I mean those are the studs. So you're not playing a lot of the quarterbacks at captain.
No, but I have a ton of the quarterbacks in the flex.
Okay,
Like
makes
I have
sense.
I have a ton of Easton Stick at flex, a ton, and Aiden O'Connell.
I'm still figuring out exactly how I'm going to play this one. I'm building my lineups as we speak, but I imagine like usual, I'm going to have a lot of the quarterbacks on the slate. Like they project so much better in general. Like they're among the top projected on the slate, and they correlate so well with like it's easy to make lineups with the quarterbacks correlating the way you want them to.
The boy from Cali, what's up, dude? Said Laffy, any chance the Raiders shift quarterback if things go poorly offensively? I mean, here's the issue that I have with that. If this was a team that was truly in contention, maybe, but like, who do you go to? Brian Hoyer, a career
Right.
journeyman? I don't know what the advantage is there. So maybe, like, I'm not going to say definitively no. I would lean no, though, there, Neil.
I would lean no also. They just have really no incentive to make a quarterback change. Like you said, they're not really playing for anything. They're not really competitive right now. Why not see what you have in the rookie?
Absolutely. Sean said O'Connell's been abysmal outside of the Chiefs game. He has been bad. Yeah, for sure.
Very true.
But, oh, DJM said Hoyer's out. Okay. So I didn't even pay. You're right. You're right. So who do they go to? Garoppolo?
I suppose they could go back to Garoppolo.
But why?
Right. They know who Garoppolo is too. Like it's just maybe they could like you never really know with NFL coaches. They're so unpredictable. They don't necessarily always act in the most logical way. It wouldn't be shocking to see them go to Jimmy Garoppolo, but definitely not expecting it.
Yeah, no, it would just be so weird. You're 5-8. It's like let's go back to Garoppolo now. Now
Yeah.
that we're entirely out of contention. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, hey, happy to have you guys with us. Hit that thumbs up if you have. What are we at? I won't. We're not getting 500. I know that for a fact, Neil, because we started late. Last show we had an extra 15 minutes. This we have less than we have. We're subtracting 15 minutes off the typical time. But I'd say 300 is reasonable. No.
I'm so glad we're finally on the same page, Lofty, that there is zero chance we're going to get to 500 likes. I don't think we get to 250. Personally, I think that is, you're overshooting with 300. I doubt we get to 250. But hey, if you want to be a dreamer, you can be a dreamer.
Dude, the people rallied for me so hard last time.
They did.
So
well, no. They rallied after you said it's not going to happen. They were like, screw this guy. We're going to make sure that he's wrong. They rallied against you.
They didn't want me to be sad.
Okay, maybe.
We hit 700. It was pretty amazing stuff.
Anyway, it was amazing. It was surprising.
Anyway, appreciate you guys in advance. We truly do. It helps us a lot. Subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. And as always, talking about the Sims tool, you guys, I get DMs all the time about this. Obviously, we have the tutorials everywhere, but the same Sims tool that won our boy Eitan Shander, a self-professed non-DFS sharp, $5,500 last Showdown slate, just for plug and playing the lineups and waking up to that. He probably woke up to feed his newborn at 3 a.m. and was like, oh shit, I won $5,600, plugged it in. If there's any better testament to that, please tell me. I don't think you'll find it. The tool's been crushing. I'm leaning heavily into it every week. Link in the description and in chat. And because we care about you guys, Jordan ran the Sims. We're throwing up the results from that Sims run. Jordan, feel free to click through exposures, scroll through lineups, look at captain exposure. So anybody out there is curious, they'll see what we have, see what we're working with today, and what these type of lineups look like. Definitely go to lineups so people can see what type of builds the Sims is spitting out, because it's giving you lineups that, when it works, are winning you a tournament. That's what it is, Neil.
I mean, we've seen Greg did the same thing with the NFL. Greg just like, I'm just using the best lineups that it's given me and absolutely crushing it. It's a nice reminder to me that I need to stop fucking around with the Sims and just let them do their thing more. Cause I'm always like just tweaking like tons. Like I want more of this player, I want less of this player. I'm not just letting the Sims do their thing. A lot of different ways to do it, but yeah, those guys are doing much less in terms of adjusting what the Sims are telling them to do, and they are winning more than I have so far with the
It,
Sims. So
it
yeah,
almost feels like cheating.
it
And by
really
the way,
does.
link in the description and chat if you want to check it out, by the way. And if you have any questions, hit us up. DMs are open on Twitter. We already crossed 250 likes. So you're in a pit, Neil. Time
Have
to
we hit
climb out.
300 yet though?
We haven't hit 300. You're right.
So all right.
So, all right. Can we talk a little bit about Zamir White here? To me, it's really just as simple as you put it. I think he's a great play. I'm getting a ton of Zamir White in the flex, around 10% at captain. But a lot of those lineups are leaving a lot of salary on the table. Seen comments in chat saying they're leaving salary on the table with Zamir. I do think a lot of people that watch these shows and have watched them over the years are in tune with kind of what you should be looking at. If you're trying to, not chop with a million people, I would say the audience to watching these shows is sharper than the general people just throwing in lineups for the most part. I still think you're right though. If it doesn't mean you can't play. It doesn't mean if you play Zamir White that you have to have 5,000 left over. It does mean that if you have 200 left over, it's probably a lineup that a lot of people have. Not that, like you said, not that it's a bad thing necessarily, but it just depends on what you're looking to do.
Just understand what you're getting into. Like if you play Zamir White in the captain spot and you jam in Davante Adams, Austin Eckler, the quarterbacks, or whatever, some combo of all of the super high owned stud type of plays, yeah, you're probably going to be duped a lot. You're probably like your ceiling is not as high as if you're leaving a lot of salary on the table. You're probably also more likely to win. So those are the trends. You're probably a little bit more likely to take first in the contest if you play Zamir White in the captain and also play Davante Adams, Austin Eckler, the quarterbacks, Jacoby Myers, like whoever, the great plays on the slate. If you play all those plays, you are probably you're going to have a better chance of winning the tournament than if you're playing, worse plays, but you're also more likely to be duped a little bit. And so I think on this slate, I don't think that you are that much more likely to win by using the full salary cap, because I don't think that the players who are the studs project that much better than the
For
players
sure.
just behind. Like you have a slightly better odds of winning, but you're going to bring down your cap. So I do think it is a slate where my preference is to leave salary on the table. I'm just acknowledging that, like, that's not a sure thing. Like there's definitely a real possibility that a lineup that uses close to the full salary cap wins, and it's going to be a 2,000 way split, and you're not going to win that much money. But like, still, if you have it, you're happy you have it.
Dude, this is one of those slates where Trey Tucker could have one target and it's a 40-yard touchdown.
And that's enough.
Yeah, and he outscores Davante Adams because Aiden O'Connell's the quarterback.
Exactly. We have two like not great quarterbacks. There
That's
might not be much.
That's a great point, Neil. That's a really good point when you think about how the rest of these guys project. Like you still want to get some Eckler and some Adams. We're not saying that. But like jamming studs is different on a slate like today when you've got Easton Stick and Aiden O'Connell at quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, yes, these guys, the studs project better. Austin Eckler projects better than Jacoby Myers. Would any of us be surprised though if Jacoby Myers ends up outscoring Austin Eckler, or even like Gerald Everett? If Gerald Everett outscores Austin Eckler, I would not be surprised, because this is not a game where there's going to be a ton of points scored. So it could be like Gerald Everett has 4 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown, and that outscores Austin Eckler, who has 12 carries and maybe he puts up 80 yards but doesn't do much else. I think there's a wide range of outcomes for a lot of these players, and also just the scoring could be so low that splash plays mean more. So it's like the players that are going to have the volume, that is a little bit less impactful on this slate, because the splash plays are going to have a bigger impact when there's not as much scoring.
Are you willing to play a guy like Trey Tucker?
Absolutely willing to play a guy like Trey Tucker. He's the ultimate like boom bust. Like he could put up 0 fantasy points, or he could put up a touchdown and actually have be impactful here. Let me look at his stats from week 14. How many opportunities did he actually have?
You're not going to like it. He played 3 snaps.
Yeah, he ran 1 route in week 14. So that is even low by Trey Tucker standards. So let me change my answer to, I am probably not playing Trey Tucker in the 30 to 40 lineups that I'm playing. If I were playing 150 lineups, I would have some Trey Tucker sprinkled in there. But yeah, one route run last week is not really inspiring much confidence. I mean, we do have Devontae Adams playing here. Yeah, I'm changing my answer to I'm not playing him. I think you can play him if you're playing 150 lineups. I think if you're playing 150 lineups, you probably also already know that. Yeah, I don't think I'm going there in my 30 lineups tonight.
It's funny though, because I'm going to have a little bit only because he was seeing a decent amount of snaps. He was, and then a steep drop off last game, but whatever they did last week didn't work.
True.
That's kind of what I come back to. They scored 0 points at home, ran a bunch of 12 personnel. Michael Mayer played 94% of snaps. Austin Hooper played almost 40% of snaps, right? I don't know. Could it be just more Amir Abdullah catching passes? Sure. This one's tough for me, man. This one's tough on such a bad slate. I'm tempted to get a little bit of Trey Tucker only because I don't think anyone's going to touch him.
Yeah, it's really
but it's
weird.
so gross.
Just looking at the snap shares for the Raiders over the past few weeks, like nothing really changed for the top three: Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfrow, all sort of in the same range that they had been in. Maybe they just ran fewer plays. So Trey Tucker only ended up playing 3 total snaps. But yeah, it probably was a little bit of a fluke. He's probably more likely to play, 10 to 15 like he has been typically. So I do think he's in play. I don't think I'm gonna have a ton of him just because we do have some decent value on the slate with obviously Zamir White. Also with the Chargers running back situation where they claim they're gonna to ride the hot hand. I think that there are probably better values, so you don't need to be playing the really off the wall guys. I still think he is in play just as a guy who can put up a splash play, can put up a lot of points in a hurry.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gross, but I mean, you're hoping for 2 targets and one of them connects. Again, it keeps coming but to the back to the point that you made, and it's a tough spot with Trey Tucker. I keep coming like with him and Jalen Guyton, those type of guys. Obviously, Guyton's a little bit different, right? Because you have no Keenan Allen. Josh Palmer is back, and they're using Alex Erickson. But at the same time, I mean, how popular is Guyton going to be? He's what, around the same price as Trey Tucker, right? A
Yeah,
little bit
we
more.
have
Oh no, the same price.
Guyton is 1,400.
Yeah, they're
Trey
basically the
Tucker.
same price. Tucker's 1,200.
Yep. Yeah.
So, would you prefer Guyton?
I think Guyton is the safer option. Like even though we didn't play much in the last game, I do think he's probably the more likely to see an uptick in terms of opportunities than Trey Tucker. I don't think they're all that different. But yeah, I think that we have Guyton at 5.7% ownership, Trey Tucker at 5%. It's really like they're very similar. I think that my slight preference is for Guyton. I think with Keenan Allen out, there's slightly more upside in Guyton seeing more snaps than we're expecting, taking more of the Keenan Allen workload than we're expecting him to relative to Josh Palmer returning. So yeah, I think that Guyton is my preference between the two of them. I think that both of them are not going to work out all that often, but from time to time they will.
What other cheap guys are you looking at? We only have so much time on this show. I want to help you guys out in chat for sure. What other cheap guys stand out to you that are going to be in lineups today?
I mean, Michael Mayer is only 3,200, so I guess it depends on how you are defining cheap. But Michael Mayer played, I want to say, like 94% of snaps in the most recent game, 50+% of routes run. Only saw 2 targets in Week 14, but it's at least very promising that he is out there for every snap. He did see a number. Ran a number of routes last week, and this is a great spot for tight ends against this Chargers defense. So I really do like Michael Mayer at 3,200. Austin Hooper a little bit more thin than Mayer just from an opportunity standpoint, but I do think he's in play at 800. Another guy that I like that is fairly cheap. So those two kind of immediately jump out to me. Alex Erickson at 1,000. You already kind of mentioned that Alex Erickson really ran a number of routes in the most recent game. He was actually really involved for the Chargers, which was a bit of a surprise as kind of an older NFL vet coming in and actually like playing a significant role. He's only 1,000 and not getting a ton of ownership. And we have Keenan Allen out. I think Alex Erickson is probably still going to be pretty involved in this offense. So at 1,000, I think that he is safer to me than Jalen Guyton, like more likely to higher floor and probably similar ceiling to Jalen Guyton. So I do like Alex Erickson at relatively little ownership here. Um, Again, depends how you define cheap, but Hunter Renfrow is still, running routes on about 50% of dropbacks. He is pretty interesting. I do think that the running backs are probably the most interesting to me still. Maybe Alex Erickson, it kind of stands out there, but actually Alex and Michael Mayer, we have so many like pretty decent cheap options on this
I
slate.
know.
But just looking at, so we talk about Zamir White is like, he's probably the RB1 for the Raiders. Maybe Amir Abdullah splits more than we're expecting. Abdullah only 4,800. He only has 6 carries on the year, but I think that he's more likely to get carries with Josh Jacobs out than when Josh Jacobs was active. So Amir Abdullah, a pretty good, like sort of cheap option at 4,800. I also sort of have interest in Isaiah Spiller. He's 3,800. Before the last game, the Chargers came out and said they're going to start splitting carries. They're going to go with a hot hand approach with their running backs, and then that, I guess we can't say that it didn't happen, but it was still Austin Eckler getting all of the carries last year, getting the vast majority of the work. But maybe after they said that, like I think it's likelier that if Isaiah Spiller comes out and has a couple 10-yard runs in a row, they're more likely to keep him out there. So because he's 3,800 versus Josh Kelly being 6,800, I'm willing to take some shots on Isaiah Spiller. Like just trust what the coaches are telling us. We're willing to play whoever is running well, and if Isaiah Spiller has some nice runs, maybe they do actually live up to it and give him more opportunities. So we have a number of like wide range of outcomes, cheap guys on this slate.
I I mentioned to Matt this morning on the Showdown strategy show when we talked about like what do we do with the backfield outside of Eckler, because I mean Eckler is just great. He still played north of 70% of snaps. Second most he's played all season, despite, like you said, what they had said was going to happen. Here's my thing. If I were looking to one of those guys, it's going to be Spiller over Kelly. 2 reasons. One, we saw Kelly earlier this year. We know what Kelly's all about, and it's nothing particularly good, right? Certainly not something that helped any of us when we ate Kelly chalk when Eckler was out. It was just a fiery crash and burn. With Spiller, it's one of those things where, okay, you draft the guy a couple of years ago. Let's see what we have, right? Let's kind of see what we have in Spiller. I'm not saying that happens, but if it's one of them, I think not Spiller. Isaiah, you remember CJ Spiller? I think Isaiah Spiller would be the guy that at least has a window, albeit a small window, to get some work. That being said, I don't really think I have any Isaiah Spiller right now.
I think I will. I think that I am willing. I think I'm more willing to take shots there. It is like still fairly unlikely, as we talked about. Like they still played Austin Eckler even more last game than they had been playing Austin Eckler. I believe the snap count actually came up a little bit in that last game for 72% snap participation for Austin Eckler in week 14. It was 57% in week 13. So they came out and said we're going to play the hot hand, and then it was just still Austin Eckler in week 14. But the fact that they said that tells me maybe they are still willing to experiment, and if Isaiah Spiller is looking good out there, maybe they will give him more opportunities. And it's also a game where he's more likely to look good because they're playing against the Raiders, who are not really an imposing run defense. So I'm willing to go there with Spiller. I want it to be Kelly because I have a lot of Kelly in best ball. I really want him to work out, but I think at this point, like given the price tags, Spiller is just the 3,800. Kelly feels like he's kind of in no man's land for me at 6,800. Like feels really thin to go there. Like he's pretty unlikely to pay that off. Whereas Spiller, if he scores a touchdown, there's a pretty good chance he pays off that $3,800 price tag. So I'm kind of interested there. Not like I'm not jamming it, but at low ownership, low price tag, coach speak kind of telling me that it could happen. I'm willing to take some shots.
For those of you guys on Owner's Box, I know many of you have been taking advantage of the overlay there, took advantage of the $500 first match deposit bonus and the Superflex contest that they have on more than one slate. Very cool. Tonight, We're 15 minutes away, 66% filled in the main Showdown contest. I had Jordan run the Sims for us on Showdown. Why not? Because we had a guy win from the parking lot when we ran this before, Neil, and took down the
That's
first
right.
place. So on Owner's Box, by the way, link in the description and chat. You want a $500 first match deposit bonus. If you're an enjoyer of overlay, making sure that there's dead money in these contests, you won't find that on DraftKings or FanDuel. And all of our tools, we have Owner's Box. You're not going to find many sites that have Owner's Box tools, so it already puts you ahead of the pack. Highest simmed ROI, Eckler, Everett, Michael Mayer, Easton Stick, Zamir White, then Easton Stick, Adams, Everett, Hunter Renfrow, and White. Here's one for you. Eckler, Abdullah, Everett, Quentin Johnson, and Easton Stick. There's a 4-1 Chargers lineup.
That'll work.
Certainly will. Anyway, link down there, and it's in chat. You want to check it out. Up to $500 first match deposit. Super flex contest. You never need to get burned by a defense. And you get a free $5 contest ticket for DFS. You get a free $5 ticket for their lightning lineups. That sweetens the pot a little bit. So jump in if you're not there yet, guys. Not to say you're going to start not playing on DraftKings or FanDuel, but a nice supplementary piece, a complimentary piece to get in each week, especially when you spot that overlay and go, oh, wait, it's 12:30. I should join. Anyway, talking pass catchers for, like, I think the pass catchers for the Raiders are a little bit more cut and dry. And here's what I mean. Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Michael Mayer, they're going to play a ton today. All right. They're going to play a ton. Barring any unforeseen wildness, they're going to be out there a ton. Adams and Myers played, Jacoby Myers played all but 1 snap last game. And Michael Mayer played all but 3 snaps last game. Hooper will be out there, but it's Austin Hooper, frequently used. Hunter Renfrow's just out there. And I think Trey Tucker plays a little bit more, but probably not a ton. I'll have a little interest. On the Chargers side, though, Mike Williams has been done forever, which sucks. Keenan Allen is out. So now you're talking about Joshua Palmer returning from the IR, Jalen Guyton being in this lineup. This is a lot different, man. And a pass catching back in Austin Eckler. Also, Quentin Johnson, I said it earlier on the show, over 25.5 receiving yards on FanDuel, my betting show on OddsShopper. That's at 32.5 now. So it got hit pretty hard to the over, which means he'll have 0 receptions today. But a first-round rookie in an otherwise lost season, you have to play the guy. There's no reason not to play him. And then Erickson. So I think it's a lot harder to try and figure out what's going on here, especially when you have Gerald Everett and Donald Parham at tight end.
Well, Donald Parham is inactive. I just learned this.
Was he officially ruled out?
Yep, Donald Parham
Okay.
is inactive, which is actually honestly a really interesting wrinkle because it makes Gerald Everett obviously look better. Also makes me question. So we were talking about cheap guys earlier. Now I'm thinking, do I need to be considering a Stone Smart? Are we going back there, or Nick Vanette or Steven Anderson? I'm trying to decide which one of these guys I'm most willing to go to. Of the 3, it's probably Stone Smart. He's the one that we have projected the best, but none of these guys project particularly well. Probably we just want to be going to more of Gerald Everett with Donald Parham out. Hope that he gets more of those end zone targets, but definitely interesting that he is out for this game. But yeah, you're absolutely, it is Devontae Adams is clearly the top receiver for the Raiders. Jacoby Myers has been kind of up and down all year, but like he's pretty clearly the wide receiver 2 still. We still have Hunter Renfrow running routes on about 50% of dropbacks. He's still pretty clearly the wide receiver. He has not done it at all this year. I was looking at his stats earlier though. He has, I believe, 12 receptions over the past 3 games after having 13 over the past 10 games. So at the very least, Hunter Renfrow has been getting more receptions over the past few games than he had been earlier in the year. So at low ownership, I'll be taking shots there. And then yeah, Michael Mayer, 96% snap share in the most recent game for the Raiders, running routes on over 50% of dropbacks. And it's a great spot for tight end. So it is really easy with the Raiders guys. Like those are really the 3, the 4 that I'm the most interested in. Trey Tucker, kind of just a dart throw kind of play. I do think that he's a viable play, as you said, but he really is just a dart throw. The Chargers, I'm not sure who the wide receiver 1 is between Josh Palmer and Quentin Johnston. Do you have an opinion on this, Lofty? Who is the wide receiver 1 for the Chargers with Keenan Allen out?
I still think it's Palmer.
I think it is too. I'm not like
Here's
not
why.
100% on it. Yeah.
Here's why. When I know that the season has progressed and Quentin Johnson has begun to see more opportunities, but before Palmer got hurt, he was playing the entire game, right? Like the guy was playing the whole game. Even when Mike Williams was healthy, you had Palmer out there for like 65% of snaps. Then Mike Williams gets hurt. Palmer's playing 98% of snaps in these games. Assuming he comes back and he's not limited, why would you bring him back in a season like this if he's in any form or fashion limited? Um, I still, I look, my anticipation is that Quentin Johnson and Josh Palmer played most of, like, almost the entire game. That would make the most sense. With Alex Erickson getting a decent amount, Jalen Guyton's run almost 60 are lined up in the slot almost 60% of the time this year, which is kind of weird, but probably a good thing, so he doesn't get boxed out of being on the field. But yeah, I would still say the pecking order, Joshua Palmer's a better wide receiver than Quentin Johnston. He's a better receiver.
I think that's probably true. I think it's probably.
Oh, it's true. Quentin Johnson has shown us nothing yet. It might not be true
I mean,
next year
yeah,
or the
well,
year
yeah,
after
that
that.
that is true. Quentin Johnson, he's shown us that he cannot make catches when he needs to make catches. That's all he's shown us so far this year. So yeah, I think that I'm with you. It's probably Josh Palmer as the wide receiver one. Quentin Johnson, I still think I would call the wide receiver two for the Chargers. Josh Palmer down to, sorry, Jalen Guyton down to just 32% snap share in week 14, where Alex Erickson saw 66%. So maybe at this point we call Alex Erickson the wide receiver 3, Jalen Guyton wide receiver 4 for the Chargers. It is way more messy though. Like it would not surprise me at all to see things reverse between Guyton and Alex Erickson, where Guyton is now the guy getting 66% snap share and Erickson half of the snap share. So definitely more of a moving target here with the Chargers than with the Raiders. But I think that the safest are Josh Palmer, Quentin Johnston, and of course Gerald Everett, if you want to include tight ends in that discussion. And then after that is just, I think Alex Erickson is interested in me just because he is still getting low ownership after playing 66% of snaps last week. But you can certainly play Guyton as well.
Yeah, you can. You can. And I will have some Guyton. Spencer, I dropped the prize picks link in actually, I can't. Can I not drop that link in chat? Jordan, just pull the prize, if you don't mind, pull the prize picks link from the strategy show this morning with me and Eric and just throw that in chat for Spencer. By the way, Spencer, you get a free month of Odd Shopper Premium. All of our plus EV tools. You get all of our premium expert picks on the premium expert picks page. You get access to our Discord. So yeah, good time to get in on prize picks if you want, but Jordan will throw that in there for you, Spencer. Anyway, I'm looking at a couple of things here that kind of stand out just from my lineups in general, right? So one, leaving a lot of salary, not in every lineup, but definitely leaving a decent amount of salary in some. Now I'm looking at some that I have like 300 remaining. That lineup is Eckler captain and Adams is in that. No surprise there, right? It's also a 2 kicker lineup though. So it's not just jamming Jacoby Myers and everybody else. One thing I'm finding though, running the Sims tool, I just did my final run on the Sims. I just put my lineups in. They're locked. A ton of Austin Eckler and a ton of Devontae Adams at captain. I mean, that's where I'm landing. I'm seeing some Zamir White, probably around 10% still. I'd have to go back and look at the Sims. But a lot of Devontae Adams, a lot of Austin Eckler at captain. But even in some of these Austin Eckler and Devontae Adams captain lineups, I'm leaving salary on the table. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense to play the best plays in captain on a slate where we really have so many great value options. Just playing the highest projected plays in the captain spot makes a lot of sense, and still you can still play a lot of value outside of there. So yeah, it's really easy to play whoever you want to play in the captain spot. And Austin Eckler is certainly a guy that, like, I think there's a wide range of outcomes based on what they've said about playing the hot hand. But I also think like the ceiling on Austin Eckler and the ceiling on Devontae Adams, like those are probably the 2 highest ceilings on the entire slate. Maybe you want to throw the quarterbacks into that conversation as well. But yeah, those definitely make sense as the captains that you're getting to a lot of, because you can play whoever you want. So why not just play the guys who are the likeliest to hit a high score here?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think, well, okay, how about this? Are your lineups in?
No, I'm still working on them.
Oh, all right.
But yeah, hit me with whatever question. I'm happy to. I'm just kind of I'm winging it as we're talking about. I'm still
I mean,
kind
I
of
was
working
going to
through.
ask you if there's anything you're noticing in your lineups that stands out. That's like that's unique because with like I mentioned with mine, I thought I would get more Zamir White at captain, but I'm getting only a little bit. I am getting some quarterback at captain. Let's see, one. I'm getting a little bit. Um, Another thing though, I am getting a decent amount of kickers, which just kind of makes sense in a spot like this. I'm
Yeah.
not getting I'm not getting a lot of defense.
Really? I feel like when I was running the lineup generator earlier, I was getting to a ton of the defenses here, which makes sense with kind of unknown quarterbacks, like quarterbacks you don't trust. Makes sense to play some defense.
For sure.
And if you look at the boom bust tool, I mean, where do we have? We have the Raiders positive leverage in the util. We have them at 25% util ownership, 28% util optimal versus 6% captain ownership, 4% optimal. So they look better in the util than the captain spot. But it's a little bit surprising that you're not getting to more of the
I have
defenses.
19% Chargers in the flex, 10% Raiders in the flex, neither at captain.
I think so. I mean, if you look at our tools, they look better in the flex than a captain. So I think that makes sense to play them more in the flex than in the captain spot. But yeah, definitely solid plays on a slate where we don't have a lot of great plays. The defenses stand out as, having higher, like not higher floors, but higher likelihood of hitting a floor, I guess.
Yeah. Mark asked, would you play both kickers? Yeah, zero issues with that.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
Lemons with the super chat, 23 months, man. Glad to have you, brother. 23 months, almost 2 years. Moving on to that new sexy badge. Jimmy G or log off. See, dude, that's one way to look at it, my friend. Uh, Jordan, do me a favor, since we only have a couple minutes here. You're on exposures right now. I want to see what your Sims rank is. How much of the defense are we getting? Can you scroll on that? I want to see if it's similar to what I'm getting. Oh, that's FanDuel. Do you have another tab open with DK still? Yeah, go to DraftKings for a second. Look at you, man of the people, throwing FanDuel up there. Yeah, go to exposures and then just scroll. You don't have to sort by captain or flex or anything. I just want to see what we have in terms of of defenses. I'm assuming it won't be that much. Let's see. Chargers 15% at flex. Keep going. Raiders. Do we have any Raiders? Okay. And then
Wow,
none
so
of
you're
them at
talking.
cat.
Really
12%.
interesting. I feel like when I was looking at the lineup generator just like 2.5 hours ago, I was getting to a ton of the Raiders defense. That was more on FanDuel than DraftKings though. So maybe that is a site difference there.
We have out of 150 lineups, we have one Raiders captain, one Chargers captain.
Oh, a
That's pretty.
captain. You're talking about captain. Okay, yeah, that makes
No, I'm
sense.
saying no, only one Raiders lineup and one Chargers a captain. Other than that, it's like 15 and 14 or 14, 12% in flex.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah. Bold move, Cotton. See how it works
Bold
out.
move, Cotton.
You know what that's from?
Dodgeball, of course.
Super underrated movie.
Love dodgeball. Yeah, that's right in my wheelhouse of like, I think it was maybe during college or just post college for me. Yeah, love dodgeball.
About as useless as a cock flavored lollipop.
I don't remember that line.
Really?
Yeah, it's funny the things you remember from these movies. There's so quotable those movies from that era, old school Zoolander, but there's so many lines that I also don't remember.
Yeah. Okay. Do it because it's sterile and I like the taste. Come on, you have to. Necessary? Necessary?
I
Is
don't.
drinking my own urine necessary? No, but I do it because it's sterile and I like the taste.
I don't remember that line.
You don't, dude, then you don't
It's
remember
been
dodgeball.
it's been 15 years since I've seen this movie.
Me too. Oh, come on. You're gonna have to go rewatch it.
I'm blessed, Lofty, with a shitty memory. So every time I rewatch a movie, it's like I'm watching it for the first time.
All right. So do you remember when they're washing the cars and Justin Long's washing the car and the dude's got his finger in his belly button and he's going, Get in there nice and deep, black boy. No,
No,
you don't
I
remember
don't.
that either?
I don't remember it.
Oh, it's some of the best lines. Peter, we could play dodgeball. You got to remember that part.
No, this
Okay,
is.
so so essentially you've never
I've
seen
never seen
Blade. You've
dodgeball.
never
Yeah, I
seen
can watch it
dodgeball.
for the first time
No,
again.
you've never seen dodgeball.
Yeah, apparently.
Watch it again, please. Great movie.
I will.
Anyway, it's funny because you remembered that line, but I guess that one's like the cotton one is super, super well known.
I think I probably remember the ones that have been memed a million times better than just like your standard line.
Yeah. White Goodman was one of the best characters ever. It's Ben Stiller's character in
Oh,
Dodgeball.
okay.
You
Yeah,
have to. Involuntary spasm.
No, seriously.
Enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, appreciate you. Yo, good luck tonight. Let's make this happen. Let's hope defense isn't in captain. I'll be happy. That's all I care about, Neil. Just no defense at captain because I don't have much of it. I don't think I have any.
I don't know that I do either. So yeah, no defense as captain.
Yeah, let's go. Appreciate you guys as always. We crushed 300 likes, by the way, Neil. Told you it would happen.
We didn't get 500 though, so.
Well, come on. We were behind the 8 ball on that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
PK, cramming up your cram hole, LaFleur. There we go. There we go. See? Now we're moving.
That's good.
Appreciate you guys. We'll see you back here for the next one. Peace.